Hello. In this lesson today, we're going to take a look at how shape can become form, and then we're going to look at a couple of mark-making ideas and techniques that we can use to further enhance the form. And we'll use Wayne Thiebaud's Pies image here just to analyze this particular painting in terms of its shapes first, and then look at how the shapes combine together to make a form or make forms, and then how adding that extra step of value further enhances the form. So 3 parts there. So let's take a look first of all at this image here, and I have sent this image to you as well. So if it's a little distorted here on the camera, just refer back to the one I sent you. Anyway, so generally speaking, what kinds of shapes do we see here? So take a moment and let's write those down. Shapes. What shapes? Shapes, dominant shapes in this particular painting do we see? Well, I'm seeing, you go first, so think about it first. Write them down in your sketchbook. I'll give you a moment or two to write those down. Shapes, just shapes. Those are 2-dimensional flat shapes, okay, basically. All right, so for shapes, I'm seeing, think about what you put. I'll put what I'm seeing. Triangles, triangle shapes. I'm seeing kind of rectangular shapes. Rectangle. I'm seeing different, maybe elliptical shapes. They're, of course, being interrupted by the piece of pie, but let's say just initially speaking, ellipse, of various sizes. So some are a little bigger, and as they get to the back, they're becoming thinner ellipses back there. What else do we see? I'm also seeing kind of some, maybe like crescent shapes, sort of, or like here, right here, kind of a, not a crescent, but maybe like a half ellipse. I have a half ellipse, I guess. Kind of a half ellipse in there, maybe a ellipse or a half ellipse. Okay, so then our form becomes when we add a 3-dimensional aspect to the shape. So we can take a look at, let's just pick one. Pick this one here. We start with, and it's a little blown out there, but see if you can see that there, or maybe this one up here. Kind of the same idea, but there's that shape. So we start with what shape? Let's say triangular, basically. Of course, there's variations in there, but initially. Let's try that. So we have a triangle shape here. That's our shape. We can then add basically what shape to that? Probably more rectangular. We can add a rectangular shape to that. Further divide that. So we've kind of got our piece of just generally speaking, kind of a general shape there. Then we put our ellipse with it. So just kind of thinking, I'm using pen so it shows up better, but you can use pencil. for this. This is fine. So go ahead and use pencil if it's easier. So there's kind of my ellipse sort of idea there. Of course, it's not very elliptical there. There we go. So there would be a plate all of a sudden, and then with a little cast shadow, which is crescent shape. So let me put that. I'll put crescent shape. Kind of like right in here. I could say, maybe I can get my cast shadow kind of right there. Kind of that little crescent shape there. Maybe I can make that kind of crescent shape right in there. Okay, so we've taken a shape, we've added a second shape, or two shapes, but it's one shape divided in half, and another shape with an ellipse, and now all of a sudden we've got the basis for our cake or pie or whatever. Mine are a little tall there, so if I wanted to do it more pie-like instead of cake-like, all I have to do is make my shapes a little bit different size. So here's my triangle for the top piece right there. This could be straight down, straight down. I'll go this way here. So I just made my rectangle a little thinner, and then I can further divide that, and then put my ellipse for the plate. And then a crescent shape if I wanted to for the cast shadow in there. So that would be an idea. Let's do, so shape all of a sudden becomes form. Shape becomes form. It becomes a three-dimensional. It becomes a three-dimensional object when we combine two shapes together. Just like in Wayne Thiebaud's paintings here. He does that quite a bit, so it's quite interesting. He uses this concept a lot. Let's do maybe like the piece of pumpkin pie and see how we can do shape becomes form in that one. I'm going to turn my page. So take note of this here. And I'm going to do the pumpkin pie on the other side there. And I'm going to start again with my triangular shape. There's a triangle. Let's see. There's my triangle. Notice this rectangle is very thin. So I'll make a thin rectangle here attached to my triangle. So there's the beginning of it. Now this is pumpkin pie, so of course it's got that little crust in the back. But if I had to describe this crust area as a shape, how would we describe that if it's just a regular shape? Like if I had to pick a shape. I might pick initially rectangular, like a skinny long, kind of a skinny long rectangular shape. So let me just get my skinny long rectangular shape to begin with. That would be my skinny long rectangular shape to start with. And then of course it's got an ellipse. So I'll put my ellipse that gets a little interrupted by the pie. Something like that. And then there's a cast shadow, which makes a nice triangular shape on the plate there. So from there, I could then go back and say, to make it more pie-like, I'm going to kind of round this out, give it kind of more of a crust that's kind of got the ridge. So I'm going to take my shape and just modify it a little bit. Just modify it a little bit there. Right? And then maybe give this a little bit more irregularity just because it's maybe cut. So maybe this is not so straight. Maybe this side of the triangle becomes a little more organic in there. And then the bottom crust, we could actually put maybe like a bottom crust in there. Let's say that's our bottom crust there. So we've now taken shape becomes form and further just modified that shape just a little bit. And maybe I'm going to just even kind of, I don't know, round this out a little bit if you wanted. Give it a little more organic quality. You know, it's a cut piece of pie. If you're like me, I never seem to cut them straight and clean, so I get them everywhere, crumbs and pieces and stuff. Okay, so there, shape becomes form. So let's take a look at then the next part where we can further enhance the idea of our shapes becoming form when we add what we're going to call value, a lightness or a medium or a darkness to the form itself. But now we will shift over to pen. So go grab your pen, and I'm going to get a new piece of paper. We're going to take a look at some mark making techniques, and then we're going to become bakers and make some pies and cakes and things like that. Okay? All right. So grab your pen, get some more paper if you need to, and I'll see you back here in just a little bit.